How to start sailing. Friends, I haven't been on YouTube for a while. It was a long weekend in late May in Canada. So I sailed around some islands near Vancouver, the South Gulf Islands, which is near the border between US and Canada and near Vancouver Island. So I spent a long weekend and several days there around those islands. We have a team, a fleet of 3 boats, and in total 18 people on the boat. So we were cooking, eating on the boat, and occasionally when we go to the island resort, we go there and enjoy the restaurant, hot tub, and the beach. So after I'm back, I talked to several friends about my journey of started sailing, and they have questions, and a lot of them are wondering how to start sailing as well. So first of all, I started sailing in 2009 when I was living in Shanghai, traveling to Malaysia. I was backpacking. I was taking a ferry from the island Langkawi, which is near the border between Thailand and Malaysia, to Georgetown in Penang, which is a historic town on West Malaysia. And on the ferry, I met a lifelong sailor, a very experienced skipper and captain. And I hitched his boat for 1 week around Langkawi. There are many islands there. It was a beautiful week. I was cooking and cleaning, and I learned a little bit about point of sail, how to maintain a boat, mooring, anchoring, and so on. A little bit of GPS navigation, and I observed my skipper to do his radio communication. So a little bit of everything. I even get a chance to observe how a mechanic came on board to fix the engine. So a lot of things happening in Southeast Asia. There was Andaman Sea, Indian Ocean, very beautiful postcard scene. And after several months, I went back. So the boat was actually more permanently anchored in Phuket in Thailand. So I went there and met the sailing community there. Most of them are lifelong sailors. They travel around the world. It's a small community and they know each other. And they, at that time, based in Phuket, in Thailand, and they travel all around. And in this community, it's French speaking. So there are sailors from Europe, South America, Tahiti, and different places. So I was traveling from China to there, immersed in the community. We have local food and we go to each other's boat, from $1 million yacht to a steel boat created by somebody by hand. Meet all kinds of people and enjoy Thai food. So it was a great experience. It is always also my escape to find support within a community when I cannot find my support from my own community, unfortunately. But it has always been a source of strength in my life. So I have, after having heard about these sailors, they sail around the world, they met these dolphins and flying fish on board and all those wonderful things. I had this vision of sailing on the ocean. And 2014, I started formal training. I worked with a coach in Toronto. I was very lucky with a training school to started learning sailing at the first on dinghies and occasionally on keel boats. So those boats with cabins which you can stay overnight. 2017, I moved to Vancouver, so I started to join the club, my current sailing club, at Jericho Sailing Center, sailing dinghies, and also occasionally sail keelboat. Last winter, I took courses on navigation and radio, and so that in this May long weekend, I was able to try a little bit of everything on the boat, and I look forward to get more formal training to become a second in command in a keelboat. So when friends ask me how they can start sailing, I would say 3 things. First, in general, the sailing clubs have 2 types. One is more works more like a traditional way of people are sailing from their family. So the club, you pay one-time membership fee for 1 year, and the training is either free or at a very minimal fee. So you can take your time and network in the club and go around and learn your ropes from different people. And that certainly has its own advantage. And the cons of this type of club, I would say, is you would need to identify people who are more experienced than others. Because not everybody come and teach you or formally trained or they're more experienced. So you need to kind of find out first where their experiences are and have second doubt, have your own judgment when they teach you things, and also to see everybody's different strengths. For example, somebody's strength is navigation, somebody's maintenance is more engineer, and someone's focus is to manage risk, to ensure safety. So all those, and you need to have your own judgment, and you may need to unlearn certain things. And another type of sailing club is more hiring a certified coach. Of course, those coaches are on certain levels, but they are at least certified as coach, and they will give you more classes. And the advantage of this type of club is, first, you don't have to pay an annual membership fee. The course fee will be higher, and but at least it's not committing a whole year of sailing. And the second pro of this type of club is you can have a more set progress, set learning plan, just like you go to a classroom. So you are supposed to learn these things within certain hours. In that way, it saves your time, it gives you motivation, and help you to know how you have progressed. So certainly, because I started sailing with a very experienced sailor, I had a taste of it. Then I had formal training, and now I'm in a club with more like a family-ish co-op, and I train novice as well. So training is free. So I've been experiencing different styles of clubs, and I can say certainly the more structured class has its own advantage, and you will be taught by coach and certain proper ways of doing things. For example, try to sit more at the front of the boat, and the coach will tell you how the physics of the boat works and why you need to do that. And the coach will monitor you and go in the coach boat with you on the water to observe you, remind you, and all those I have seen in general, coaches do much better than just another person or your friend teach you. So the cons of that structured way of coaching is, first, it's a formal training, and you may not have enough time to practice and put your experience on it. Like, I certainly enjoy formal training, but at the same time, I need time to let the knowledge sit, to go on the water on my own, to take time to think about it, and that would help me to digest the learning I've taken. So if you only go to formal training, and you may not get that. And also sometimes, especially as a beginner, to follow those principles, wonderful professional principles, may not help you to sail the best, because you may not have those skills, a combination of skills to put those principles into practice very well. So to have those principles imposed on you may not be the best way to start learning, depending on your learning style. So for my friends, the second thing I tell them is to try, because most of the sailing club offer open house, or they can take you on the water, and you can kind of see both their fleet, their physical conditions, and also the culture of the club. Some club you need to network and sometimes even buy beers to network up, because the way some club is set up is more like experienced sailor oriented, and if you're more novice level, you kind of need to please or beg the sailors to sail with you. But some clubs, like my current club, for example, if you are the senior, you kind of have this commitment of training new novices. So there is this culture of helping new people, and so it's not seen as a favor, but more as everyone's networking opportunity. I think it's very interesting to teach people. I like to teach people sailing. I take any of my friends who is interested in sailing to go to my club to try it out, because it's, if you do certain things, then it's kind of boring after 2 or 3 years. So you kind of have to both improving your skills in racing in a more competitive way, and also to teach others. I love teach others. It's a great way for me to learn about myself, and it's not just sailing, but also leadership and your judgment for different situations, especially you take a non-experienced person on board. You also get to not just practice for your leadership skill, but you also get to basically understand how to work with another person. And it's very interesting because everybody is different. So I liked that. So that's what I would suggest my friend. The second. The third, I would share with them how sailing have helped me to learn more about life, and learn more about myself. To learn about how to obey and surrender to the wind, to things you cannot control, and respect nature, and at the same time exercise your own will to steer to the direction you wanted to understand how you yourself function. Like one big thing I learned about myself through sailing is when I'm not as experienced, I tend to be on the safe side than taking risk. So I tend to take less risk, but not because it's safe, but just because I wasn't comfortable doing that. I wasn't experienced enough. So when I was taking less risk, it's actually driving the boat to a more risky situation than necessary. And once I get more and more experienced, I would be more comfortable to make the right decision for the boat. That helped me to see how I function at other parts of life, making friends, work, volunteering. When I have that feeling of tend to be on the safe side with a lot of uncertainty, I kind of remind myself, am I actually putting more risk into the situation? Am I avoiding risk too early than necessary? So it really helped me to learn how to adjust myself and work with myself, just like you work with the boat. And about the environment as well, to be more vigilant and love and respect nature. Sailing is an activity has a lot of uncertainties, especially you do not use motor. For example, you may go to the beach and there's no wind, you cannot sail. You may encounter too high wind or waves or any situation that you cannot sail. So it's just part of sailing that you don't know what will happen before you get to the dock or beach. It's a wonderful thing to do. So I would recommend you find out any club and try open house once, and maybe more than once, and go to another club to try it. You don't have to join the first club you found. When I was in Toronto and Vancouver, I joined the first club I found, but then I swing to other clubs and actually found the first club was great. If you have any questions and how have your sailing experience be, your questions about sailing, how to get started, and please comment below, and I'd love to hear from you. So we'll chat about sailing till here at this time. We'll talk more later.